Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we're going to have a little chat about the rules changes to the Space Marines. So, oh boy, I made the horrendous mistake of taking a glance at Facebook. I don't know why I did it, I never use Facebook, but for some reason, given the context of this, which is changes to the Space Marines, there's been an errata, there's been a rules update, it'll be linked in the description so you can take a look for yourself. One of the big changes is the doctrines. You cannot sit in the Devastator Doctrine all day laughing maniacally as you shoot everything from miles away and just, things vaporise in puffs of blood. Not an option anymore. And there's a few who are unhappy about this, which has led me to not be confused, but just wish to clarify something. Because there was a particular comment that someone made, which I'll try and find again, but I can paraphrase easily enough, which essentially boiled down to, I bought an Iron Hands army a while ago, when everything came out with the supplements and all of that. There we go, found it. So, they bought their first Iron Hands army at the start of last year, rebought and repainted it to fit with the Codex supplement, and now you've turned it on its head and made a lot of it redundant. It was nice to feel rewarded for having a previously obscure army, but changing the doctrines like this is a huge upheaval, so thanks. Bit of sarcasm on the end there. I don't think I'm emphasising the sarcasm, I think it is actually there. And of course, a variety of responses, some nicer than others, quite a few just along the lines of, oh, now you actually have to learn how to play, which is possibly a bit harsh. I can, on some level, understand the frustration, but there is a particular... actually there was two lines that made me laugh. The first was when someone was like, oh no, now you're actually going to have to learn how to play and someone might beat your army, and the response was, in fairness, it was possible to beat them. I love that sentence. That sentence by itself is almost a work of art, because the implication there is that whilst it was possible, it wasn't easy, which is like, it was like, it was possible to beat them. You probably wouldn't, but it was possible to. That kind of emphasis, maybe not what they were intending, but that's the way I read it and it made me laugh. So, the thing that got me was, I'm keeping them all, but it's more the usual frustration of spending money to have it turned on its head. Now, the way that this is read, the changes to these rules and a lot of the responses, the way that it's read is, I bought this army and I won. That was the point of buying it. It was a recognised thing. It was a definitely recognised thing that a particular combination was strong, and I wanted in on that strength. I wanted to win using that strength. Now that is, at its core, just a competitive mindset, which is not something to take the piss out of, because having a competitive mindset is completely legitimate, and whilst it might not be my thing, it is enough people's thing that entire tournaments exist around literally every facet of human existence, let's be honest. And so, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, it's your fault for wanting to be competitive. No. If you want to be competitive, then go for it. It's a massive part of the hobby, and just because it's not my personal thing doesn't mean that I'm going to look down on someone who does want to win. It's just different strokes for different folks. Things would be very boring if we all did exactly the same thing, which is part of where my bafflement comes from. See, I'm not a competitive player, I'm not a tournament player, but if there is one thing that is easy to see even from the outside, it's that competitive stuff, like the competitive scene, is not static, it is not unchanging, it is not something that sticks around in one area and never ever moves. Now there might be armies that consistently underperform, but in terms of like winning lists and so on, I may not be an expert, but I follow enough people who are, I've watched enough Almost Pro Gaming and seen enough of like Hellstorm Mikey's stuff, and I follow Rob Symes on Twitter, and like, I've seen enough to know that it is not a unchanging landscape whereby you buy your army, and then that army consistently wins and nothing changes. That's not how that works. That's not how anything competitively based works, and it never will be how that works. Whether it's just people learning how to counter your list, or whether it's changes to rules for another army that makes them stronger, or changes the rules that makes your army weaker, there is never going to be a point where you can just buy a force and go, well, that's me set for victories for the next 10 years. I'm done. I've got my list. My list will win every time, and there is literally nothing anyone can do about it, such is the nature of the competitive meta. No, that's not how it works at all. The idea of it being like the usual frustration of having to change what you do, well, yeah, that's what everyone does. I mean, I follow enough people who take part in big tournaments on Twitter that I have genuinely at this point, lost count of the number of people that I've seen go, oh, I've got like a week to paint this tournament army. And I'm sitting there looking at like 6 months worth of hobby allowance for me and going, you bought all of that, built it in 2 days because you've got 5 days until you're actually due to play. Okay, sure, you've decided on a list, you know what you want to do, you have a clear idea in your head, you think you've got a winning combination, and you're going for it. Like, there's respect to be had for the people who do that. You know, I'm absolutely not going to sit there and go, ooh, a bit of a waste. No. But surely that's just part of it. Maybe not to that extent, but surely that's part of it. No matter what you do, it's never going to be static. It's never going to be unchanging. You will never reach a point where you have spent the money you were going to spend on a competitive force, and then you are never, ever going to get anything else because that is going to be all that you need forever and ever. Amen. Like, new units coming out. Oh, I'm not going to get those. I've already spent my money on my competitive force. Like, when does that happen? It's not... Again, it's not how it works. It's not how it works for wargaming. It's not how it works for video games. It's not how it works for, like, card game. Anything. It constantly changes. It constantly shifts. And the number of people, like, on Facebook, looking at the changes to the Space Marine rules, going, this is absolute bullshit. I bought this army to win, and now it might not win all the time, is just unreal to me. Okay, so change it. Find out something that will win. Adapt. Overcome, if you will. Just like anyone else playing competitively. I mean, even if it's not just tournament play, even if it's just an innate competitiveness, you're just someone who wants to win all the time, you're still going to have to change and shift and alter what you do. You can't just sit on one idea, on one list, and never alter it. I don't think I've ever... It's a weird attitude. Like, on the one hand, I can relate. Buying something because you know it's good and then finding that it's not that good anymore is irritating, because then you've got to change it. But surely that's part of the point. Surely part of the point of being competitive is that you are actively working to be the best at the thing you do. You are actively attempting to be the best player of your local store, of your tournament that you're going to. Things have changed now. It could have been that someone else got a buff and then they were better than you. It could have been that someone came up with a list that defeated your list and then they were better than you. Or it could be, in this case, the thing that you relied on to form the foundation of your list has changed, and so now it's not as good as it once was, which means someone else may well be better than you. If it was any other context, would the response be, oh, this is bullshit, I've already paid for this? Because I don't think it would. I think it would be, oh, well, that's just how the competitive side of things works. It changes constantly, and you need to move with the times. Okay. Is that... like, am I wrong to think that? Is that an unreasonable attitude? That things will change, they will shift, and you will have to do something about it? Is that something that, in fact, is unreasonable? Because I don't think that it is. I really don't think that it is. I mean, whenever there's a shift, whenever there's a change, whenever there's a rule alteration, people switch what they do. It happens all the time. And in this specific instance, it feels like the outcry is really, really, really overblown, because it's functionally not all that different to what would happen anyway if things weren't in such a severe state with the way that certain armies worked, with both the doctrine systems, dreadnoughts, and so on and so forth. I mean, is it really that big a deal, honestly? That your army is no longer going to absolutely shit on everybody else? And that you might need to change things up a bit? Is it that bad? Or is it just how this game works and how it's always worked and something that you know fairly quickly that that's how it works? You know? Anyway, let me know how badly this is going to affect your army, whether it's going to trash everything or whether you just looked at it and gone, yeah, I was expecting that. Which, I mean, in fairness, a lot of people were also like, yeah, I was waiting for that to happen. I was as well, to be fair. But yeah, let me know if that's impacted you in any particular way, or whether you're just rolling with it and going, okay, sure, what else can we do? Like, how are you approaching this? Because, you know, I'd be interested to know. I'd be very interested to know what the general approach is for a lot of you guys. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Feel free to click all the things, as always, and there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, and you click and buy stuff, I guess, when you're sending that way. Some of it goes to charity. It's a nice way to support the channel. You were going to buy all the plastic crack anyway. You might have to now, because you might have to change your army. Now the rules have changed. So yeah, can do that if you like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.